The moon mission. A leap into the unknown. The world held its breath. It was July 16, 1969. As dawn broke over Cape Kennedy, the air vibrated with tension and raw anticipation. The massive Saturn V rocket stood like a monument to human ambition. Over 110 meters tall, 300,000 parts working in harmony, and over 1 million pounds of fuel ready to erupt. Inside, 3 men waited. Neil Armstrong, calm, focused, and quietly burdened by history. Buzz Aldrin, analytical, determined, a warrior with numbers. Michael Collins, stoic and selfless, destined to orbit alone in silence. This was not just a mission, it was a gamble with the unknown. The countdown echoed like the heartbeat of a new era. 10, 9. Each second brought them closer to the edge of the impossible. Liftoff. The Earth trembled. Saturn V screamed into the sky, a thunderous exclamation against the void. For 3 days, the Apollo 11 crew traveled through the dark, silent ocean of space. The Earth, once massive and consuming, had become nothing more than a blue marble. Every breath they took was thanks to machines. Every system a lifeline. Every second a step toward eternity. And then, the moon. It appeared in the window, stark, lifeless, haunting. Not a beacon but a reminder. This was not a place for men. And yet, here they were. The lunar module, codenamed Eagle, separated from the command module. Inside, Armstrong and Aldrin braced themselves for descent. They were flying a controlled fall with barely enough fuel to land. At 500 feet, alarms screamed in their ears. The computer overloaded. The landing site was covered in boulders. Armstrong took manual control. Buzz called out speed and altitude. Time was running out, so was fuel. 60 seconds, still descending. 30 seconds, still too fast. And then, Houston, Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed. The world exploded in cheers. But inside the module there was only breathless silence. The silence of men who knew they had just danced with death and survived. The next moment changed history. At 2:56 Universal Time Coordinated, Neil Armstrong climbed down the ladder. His voice cracked through radios around the globe. That's one small step for man. One giant leap for mankind. His foot pressed into the dust, soft, untouched, ancient. For the first time in human existence, a footprint, ours, marked another world. Buzz Aldrin followed. They planted the American flag, collected lunar soil, ran simple experiments. They looked up and saw Earth, distant, fragile, alone in the black. They were 384,000 kilometers from home. No backup, no rescue, just hope and skill. Above them, Michael Collins circled the moon alone, cut off from humanity for 48 minutes each orbit. He was the most isolated human in history, and he carried the burden of bringing them home. After 21 hours on the lunar surface, the Eagle lifted off, a fragile ascent powered by a single engine to reconnect with Collins and the command module. One failure, and they would become silent relics of human ambition. But the maneuver succeeded. Reunited, they began the long journey back. On July 24, 1969, Apollo 11 pierced Earth's atmosphere, blazing like a star, and splashed down in the Pacific Ocean. The impossible had been done, but the real legacy? It wasn't just about technology or even science. It was the image of Earthrise seen from the moon, showing humanity as one species, one home. It was the silence of the moon speaking louder than any war or division. It was the dream of a species that refused to stay grounded. The Apollo 11 mission was a declaration, a statement that we are not bound to this rock, that when faced with the void, we rise, we explore, we dare, because beyond the edge of fear lies discovery. And sometimes, when we reach for the stars, we find ourselves.